What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, November 28th, 2024, and I have an emergency update to share with you guys. Right now it is 18:48 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. So we have some major breaking news coming in from Russia. Russian mass media is reporting that the second launch of the Oreshnik Icbm at Ukraine will take place on the night of November 30th. So I'm assuming that would mean Saturday night. Specifically, the upcoming night, the Russian forces will prepare for the strike, finalize the targets, and neutralize air defense systems. So they're saying, I'm assuming tomorrow night or sometime tonight, that the Russian Air Force will prepare for the strike, finalize targets. And on the 29th, that's tomorrow, during the day, Putin will make a statement and warn the Ukrainian civilian population before the launch, which is expected on the night of November the 30th. So this is huge news, guys. Absolutely huge, and I will be covering it live. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you follow me on Telegram and Twitter. This is going to be absolutely insane. And Putin said today that decision-making centers in the capital of Ukraine may be targeted by the Oreshnik in the upcoming strike. Putin also put the RS-28 Sarmat ICBMs on full combat alert due to recent statements by NATO about giving Ukraine nuclear weapons and conducting preemptive strikes on Russia. So the RS-28 Sarmat is the largest ICBM that Russia has, and it is the largest ICBM in the world right now. It can carry a massive payload. It is liquid fueled. That's the only negative to this missile. It has to be fueled up before launch, which takes about 2 to 3 hours. So Putin has put all these missiles on full combat alert. Absolutely insane. And Putin said today that Russia launched 100 missiles against Ukrainian military facilities in response to Ukrainian strikes in the Kursk region and in Bryansk with American missiles. He said also that Russia could launch several Oreshnik missiles in one strike, and it would be comparable to a nuclear strike. Wow. And Iran has informed the UN nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, of its plans to install more uranium-enriching centrifuges at its Fordow and Natanz nuclear facilities, as well as bring machines recently installed there online, a confidential report by the IAEA said today. So this is very concerning. We have Iran supercharging their nuclear program, trying to develop weapons as quickly as possible before Trump takes office. They want to become a nuclear state. And what's interesting is late last night we had a U.S. nuke sniffer plane take off from Diego Garcia in the middle of the night, and it flew to Qatar. So my guess is the U.S. is going to be monitoring Iran for possible nuclear testing. Now, over the last month or so, there have been these suspicious earthquakes in Iran. I've showed you guys the seismographs of these earthquakes, and the seismographs look identical to the North Korean nuclear test in 2016. So Iran may already be testing warheads right now. And former President and Prime Minister of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, has declared that NATO and the U.S. are now in full war with Russia after the West crossed all red lines by enabling Ukraine to strike targets across the border using Western missiles. And Russia dealt a massive blow to Ukraine's power grid last night with attacks on energy infrastructure affecting the entire country, according to the Ukrainian Energy Minister Herman Holashenko. So last night, Russia launched a massive attack on Ukraine, And the NATO Parliamentary Assembly passed a resolution urging NATO members to supply Ukraine with missiles that can target distances of between 1,000 to 5,500 kilometers. Wow, that is insane. And that would actually allow Ukraine to strike as far as Lake Baikal in Siberia. Absolutely insane. So this is huge, guys. They want to give Ukraine as many long-range weapons as possible, possibly even nuclear weapons, before Biden leaves office. And Germany has offered to send Patriot air defense systems to Poland starting in January. The move comes as Russia has been testing missiles dangerously close to Poland's borders. Defense Minister Boris Pistorius emphasized the mission's importance for safeguarding NATO airspace and securing weapons and vehicle shipments for Ukraine. And the Polish parliament approved a law calling for the construction of a new ammunition plant and a domestic arms industry worth $1 billion US. So massive investment in domestic arms production in Poland. And that is another sign that Europe is preparing for war with Russia. And the Norwegian parliament approved a significant increase in support for Ukraine, increasing the recent aid package from $1.4 billion to $3.16 billion for 2025. That's a huge aid package for a country like Norway. Okay, Norway's not the richest country in the world, and for them to offer Ukraine $3 billion worth in aid is huge. And 2 American B-52 nuclear bombers were intercepted on Monday by 2 Russian Sukhoi 27 fighter jets near Kaliningrad over the Baltic Sea, an American official said on Tuesday. So that is very, very serious. 2 B-52s flying near Kaliningrad, intercepted by Russian fighter jets. And we had massive amounts of reconnaissance in northern Poland over the last couple of days, but specifically like 2 or 3 days ago, we had as many as 4 or 5 reconnaissance planes patrolling northern Poland and around Kaliningrad, so something is definitely brewing over there. And the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said that in the event of U.S. missiles appearing in Japan, Russia will take adequate steps in accordance with the updated nuclear doctrine. Okay, so the updated nuclear doctrine in Russia says that if a non-nuclear state gets armed by a nuclear state and that non-nuclear state goes to war with Russia, then Russia could use nuclear weapons against both the non-nuclear state and the nuclear state helping them. Okay, so this is basically a nuclear threat to the U.S. If you move missiles into Japan, that's grounds for nuclear war. Okay, very, very serious. And the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that NATO has thrown all rules of decency aside by expressing the possibility of a preemptive strike against Russia. The real intentions are now openly declared. He also said that judging by what is happening on the battlefield, we are still a very long way off from a political and diplomatic settlement of the crisis. Okay, so basically pouring cold water on this peace deal that some people in the Trump administration are pushing for. And Iran is currently building heavy submarines that will be capable of launching cruise missiles from the depths of the sea. The Iranian Navy commander Shahram Irani said in an interview with Iran's Tasnim news agency. And the Ukrainian Minister of Defense went to South Korea to meet with the President of South Korea, the Minister of Defense of South Korea, and the Director of National Security of South Korea, obviously talking about the North Koreans fighting in Ukraine and probably figuring out how South Korea can help Ukraine. And some kind of cyber attack hit Denmark today. There's apparently a nationwide outage affecting Denmark's largest cell phone provider, with police and emergency lines down for hours, and there's new reports of rail disruptions to and from Copenhagen Airport. So lots of stuff going on, and I want to show you guys something very disturbing that was posted by Sputnik News on Twitter. It's talking about how Russia's Oreshnik missiles could target the U.S. Minuteman III silo fields in Montana, Wyoming, and North Dakota. It says here, U.S. Minuteman III nuclear silos cannot hide from Russia's Oreshnik. Following giving a lesson about the destructive power of its new Oreshnik hypersonic ballistic missile on November 21st in Dnipropetrovsk, Russia has revealed just how far the reach of these weapons extends. Among the targets Oreshnik could potentially strike in a matter of minutes if such an order is given by Moscow are the Minuteman III Icbm silos in the United States, an important component of the U.S. nuclear arsenal. So very interesting, clearly a threat to the U.S., and this evening we have some Russian doomsday planes airborne. One of them went to Vladivostok, which is pretty unusual. And also, there was a strange radiation spike near Malmstrom Air Force Base last night in Great Falls, literally right next to Malmstrom. And this radiation spike had counts per minute of 406 and 2.639 microsieverts per hour, which is very similar to the radiation you get when you're on a plane. So that's some pretty serious radiation right outside of Malmstrom Air Force Base. And the only thing I can think of is that either this radiation station is calibrated wrong, or potentially the U.S. is moving missiles around, moving warheads around, and that could potentially cause a spike there next to Malmstrom. I'm going to continue to monitor this situation. And here's the flight path of that nuke sniffer that took off from Diego Garcia last night and went to Qatar, clearly to monitor Iran and possibly also Russia in the coming hours and days for this massive Oreshnik strike that Putin is planning. And we have a U.S. Air Force captain claiming that a UFO disabled 10 Minuteman warheads back in the 60s. He said this during the congressional UFO hearing recently. In his encounter, he described the UFO as having an eerie red glow as it sped through the night sky on March 24th, 1967. The then 26-year-old lieutenant reported that the UFO pilots appeared to have an in-depth understanding of the missile systems. At the time of the incident, Malmstrom was in control of Minuteman I ICBMs. No equipment was fried, nothing was damaged, he stated. Salas believes the extraterrestrial visitors aren't hostile but rather a pacifist species, implying their intention is peaceful rather than aggressive. He explained that the shutdown was caused by an intermittent electrical pulse which affected a component of the guidance system known as the logic coupler. The missile's guidance systems failed without this part properly functioning, resulting in an automatic shutdown. However, he noted that all missiles were restored to alert status within 24 hours. This incident wasn't isolated. Salas claimed his crew commander had experienced a similar encounter just 8 days earlier. He emphasized that in both situations no significant damage was reported. Salas interprets these events as a clear message from the unknown visitors about the threats posed by nuclear weapons. Furthermore, he revealed that he was bound by a non-disclosure agreement that restricted him from discussing the classified incident for years. Okay, so U.S. Air Force captain talking about a UFO disabling 10 warheads in Malmstrom Air Force Base on March 24th, 1967. Absolutely insane. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. Massive Oreshnik strike on Ukraine planned for November the 30th, it sounds like. Apparently Putin is going to give a speech tomorrow to warn Ukrainian civilians. Very, very serious situation. I will be covering it live. But I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving. I might be in the 24/7 stream for a little bit later. We'll see. And until the next time, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.